The hell is all this? Oh, that's all the work you did yesterday.
Dude, what are you talking about? Yesterday? And who the hell are you?
Me? Well, I'm you from the future, and you already know all this.
I mean, you right. But I have to at least act like I'm surprised. I remember taking the engine apart, but what happened?
Well, when we moved the SD card footage over to the computer, it decided to die on us.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that sucked. I spent all night trying to figure that out.
Yep, all that work, gone.
Alright, well, it is what it is. But I do have one more question. If you're me from the future, and I'm me from the present, who the hell is that guy? Guys, I just work here.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to part 4 of my Ducati Monster build series. Hope you guys enjoyed that little skit. To start this video off, yeah, I lost a lot of footage that I was planning on using for this video. I'm sure as you guys can see and saw in that skit, there's disassembled parts everywhere on the table from the engine. I actually ended up going into the engine, taking off the heads, taking the cylinders out, taking the pistons off. You know, I have it all right here. And when I went to go transfer my SD card footage over to the computer, it just died last night, and I only have so much footage from everything that I did. A lot of it's corrupted, and some of it even will only play to a certain point. So it's really choppy, really sucks, but I figured I would do something to regain my sanity after that happened. So to make up for that, I don't want to make a short video for you guys. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go over kind of everything that I did. I do have some sections from the footage that was kind of corrupted and deleted, so to speak, that I will show here right after this intro. And then I will attempt to fill you guys in on anything that is probably missed or just huge gaps in information. So all that being said, I hope you guys understand, and I'm sorry that I wasn't able to do a real technical teardown of all this. There were some hiccups and things I ran into that, against some points I made that for anyone who might consider tearing down a 2-valve Ducati engine were pretty important, just some nice things to know. But yeah, let's get into the video and let's get you guys up to speed. Hey everybody, welcome back to part 4 of the Ducati Monster build series. Picking up right where the last video ended, I've got the engine here on the floor and it's time to start taking her apart. We're going to take off some things today, the oil cooler, the clutch cover, the timing belt covers, slave cylinders, things like that. And I'm going to start assessing the overall health of the engine. Obviously we're going to be doing a rebuild on it, but I do want to check and make sure that the components that I'm going to be reusing are fit for the rebuild. So to get things started, I'm just going to hop right into it and start tearing her apart. Alright, so with those timing covers off, I'm now able to get to the cams. I'm going to actually take this sensor here off so that I can get my cam holder tool. The reason why I'm doing that is because I need to get these nuts here loose on the actual cams themselves. They require a special tool, and the tool that I have here to hold this one is a little short to say, and I don't want it being blocked by anything else. So we're going to remove this here real quick, and then we're going to loosen these nuts here on the cams. Okay, so I'm at undisclosed location here. Gonna grab an impact and we're gonna get it off now. Hey, how's it going, Anna? Oh. You need to look easy, Clint. So, right tool, right job, easy. Alright. That is all of them. Per quick inspection, they all look okay, short of one right here, which looks pretty burnt up. The one friction disc, and then one steel plate here also looks pretty burnt up. Thinking about getting a new clutch. This one looks like all the friction discs have a lot of
life left on them. So we'll see where that falls on the list of things, at least part-wise, when we actually start rebuilding and putting the new bike back together. The clutch is something we can put on near the very, very end, and shouldn't be an issue due to it being a dry clutch and not needing to put the cover on at the very end. So with all that done, I'm going to go get another special tool out. I need to hold the clutch basket here in place so I can get this nut off and we can get the entire basket out. There we go. There we go, and it's loose. Special tool. Hold it all in place. That slides right off. Just simply goes on the spline here. And then underneath all this, we have a few bolts that we're going to have to take out as well. Then the rest of the basket will come on out. Yep, it came off. Okay. And there we go. Here is the vertical head. As you can see, all the washers are still on it. So let me take those off so I don't lose them. There we go. And just like that, we're loose. Okay, head is free. Alright, so here's the horizontal head. Alright, so the scoring on this one doesn't look as bad. There's a little more cases of it. This side looks really good. However, this side here, kind of see some, as well as in there. Okay, and here is our horizontal cylinder. Okay, and from there you can see that this is the cam. It will be able to rotate once we get it free. Well, welcome back to the present, everybody. As you can see, I have all of the parts here laid out on the table still. And after going through the footage and getting pretty much up to speed with myself on what I've shown you guys, I figured I would just walk around the table real quick and just show you the parts and talk about what I have pulled off already, as well as the engine down here. So to start things off, we pulled off some pretty easy things like the timing belt covers. Those were just a few screws. We have the oil cooler, which was just the two nuts here, as well as the timing belts. As you guys did see in the videos that I was able to recover, we did pull off the cylinders here. In one of those videos, I know I was able to shine a flashlight in there so you guys could see some of the scoring on the inside of the cylinder. The vertical cylinder looks pretty good, just a little bit of scoring. The horizontal cylinder, however, was pretty bad. We could see a lot of vertical scoring in there, and thankfully I am actually going to have these bored out to a 98mm bore so that we can put bigger high compression pistons in it, which I'll show you guys at the end of this video. But moving on to some more stuff here. You guys did see the clutch pack that I took out. That seemed like it was in okay condition. The clutch basket, as you guys can see, is definitely had some heat hit it at one point or another. I'm not exactly sure what happened. However, I can seem to deduce that clutch pack actually came out and scraped the inside of this clutch cover here. This here is just the oil breather. These are the pistons that I pulled out. As you can see, a little C-clip in there. Was able to just slide those out, traditional piston stuff. This is the clutch slave cylinder with the O-ring here on the back. That was just a few bolts. Moving on to what you guys kind of saw a little snippet of at my work. These here are the cams, and more specifically, these are the cam nuts. Now, these were one pain in the ass to get off. I did not realize how notorious they were about getting off, and Ducati actually recommends that these are a one-time use. My tool, as you guys can kind of see here, bit into them pretty hard, and I had to take them over to where my work is at and we had to have a pneumatic impact to rattle them off. But luckily I got all of them off. There's our main. Here's the one for the, I think this is the vertical. Yeah, this is the vertical head. And then the one for the horizontal head is off as well. So those are all off. For the vertical head that the horizontal head I'm working on now, I've taken off the valve covers as well as the cam cover, and I was actually getting into working on the cam at the end of those segments that you saw. Last things we're going to talk about real quick are the alternator cover and the clutch cover, side cover itself. These were just a few bolts to get out once we had the basket and everything out. I do need to replace the seal that is in here. I'll see if I can get that for you. It looks like at one point or another it wore out, and you guys can see the spring is kind of out of the groove that it's supposed to be in, so that is also on the part order list. But this funky looking thing here I have on the end of the alternator cover is an alternator puller tool, and you need this in order to pull the alternator cover off in a straight line rather than having it bend and things like that. So with all that being said, real quick explanation, kind of up to speed. Let's take a quick look at the engine. Engine is looking pretty bare. We can see inside of there really easy. You can see both the rods, you can see the crank, we can see the timing rod over in there as well. Alternator sides looking pretty good. I have not found the source of all of that gold colored debris that we saw in the last video when I drained the oil. I've been looking pretty diligently for it, have not been able to find it. This side we have our oil pump as well as our main gears, and I'm just waiting until I find something that seems like it would be causing that. We're going to leave the engine in the current state that it is right now, not going to tear it down any further. The only thing I will need from this that I'm still going to send out is actually the rods and the crank, so I can get the crank balanced. I need to send those measurements, but that'll come in a later video. For now, we're going to get back to disassembling the heads so that we can get those sent off. And a section of the old video that also got deleted was me talking about what we are doing with the heads and why we're disassembling them. We are disassembling these heads so that they can get ported. They're going to be ported, and the valves are going to be oversized. This is the exhaust side here, so if we flip it around, the intake side actually needs material added, is what I was told from a gentleman named Mike, who I will be sending them off to. And Mike was letting me know that the actual pathway here is too big and actually needs to again have material added and then smoothed out for it to be as efficient as possible. And they will be using what's called a flow bench to get that going. So we need to disassemble these so I can get these sent off as early as possible. And then I have pulled all of the oil passageway pins or locator pins as well from the cylinders so that we can have those sent off to get that 98mm bore that I was talking about as well. So the rest of the disassembly today is going to be getting the cylinders as well as the heads prepped and ready to be sent out. Okay, so coming on back over here to the horizontal head. So far I have taken out the spark plugs. I have removed the covers, both the valve covers as well as the cam cover. And now what we're going to need to do in order to get the cam out is we're going to need to start by pulling out this clip. The clip is kind of a pain to get out sometimes, but my recommendation is just head over to your local hardware store and get some of these little, I don't know what you'd call them, picks. And you got to get behind this sucker. Usually it's best to get on both sides of it, and then what I do is I actually just kind of squeeze them together, and what I'm going to do is a pull motion. I don't want to hit you guys, but there we go. It flew out, and luckily it landed in a box. I'll grab that here in just a minute. Found the clip that flew off the table here. Just going to set it aside, and then the next thing we're going to do is make sure that we do not have any friction here on the cam, and we are going to slide the rocker arm here over. Now this might take a moment to find the exact correct position that it wants to go over in, but there we go. Now it's slid over, and with this we can now take off our shim for our valve here. Here on the other side, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to use our two picks here to get behind this clip, and this one's going to give me a little bit more trouble. It's also kind of hard to work with the camera right in my face. You guys have my perfect line of sight, but there we go. Got them both. This time I'm going to try not to let it fly so far. There we go. That one's off. And then same process with this one. We're just going to rotate the cam until we can find the opening. And now that we've done that, I'm going to slide because the actual cam gear here itself does not have anything on it and not holding it on, off, and I can now spin the cam out. There we go, and she's out, and there is our horizontal cylinder cam. Okay, still here on the other side, the exhaust side. As you guys can see, this has already come out. What I did, and what you guys will be able to tell here in just a moment, is I found a screw. You can see that these rods here are actually threaded. I found a screw that matched that threading. It's a little bit smaller than, I believe these are the 4 or 5 millimeter screws that are on the outside, but I found one that threaded her in, and then you just got to give her a little bit of a pull. It is pretty suctioned in there from heat and whatnot, but you just slide that sucker out. There's our opening rocker arm right there, and they are labeled, I believe. They also look entirely different from each other. So I'm going to set this one down over here. I'm going to actually leave the rod through it. And then now I'm going to flip back over to the other side. Going to thread this in, and you don't have to thread it in very far. You actually want to give yourself enough room to be able to grab it, but it is going to give you kind of a pull, but it will suction out just like you saw there. Once it's out, good to go. Able to get that, and you want to be very careful. These do have spacers here on the outside of them, so you want to make sure that you do not lose those when you are taking these out. So that one's good to go. And now we are going to move on to the closing rocker arm. All right, so I grabbed some rags so that the head would not slide while I'm doing this, and kind of practiced a little bit for you guys so that I could not be in the way of the camera. But what we're going to do now is we're going to push open the closing rocker arm, and what our goal here is, we're going to try to expose the collar, or collets down there is what they're called. Now I have a magnet in my left hand because what you'll see is this outer piece will slide down and I will grab them with my magnet, in which traditionally if you were doing this with the head on the bike, the valve could drop. However, because obviously there is no engine and bike underneath this, I'm fine and good to go, and that's what I want at the end of the day. So let's try this. There's one. Okay, I'm going to try this on the other side now. Oh, I didn't go quite down as far as I wanted it to go. There we go. There's our second one. And we're all free now. So, helps out a lot when you have the ability to reach everything. This will slide right off. And now our valve is free to drop to the floor. So now let's do the intake. So this side is much more compliant, much easier to grab. We've got one right there with the other one sticking out. Ooh, actually, I'll show you guys here in a minute. That collar that I just pulled out, that half, is actually broken. So that is something that definitely needs to be replaced. See if I, uh-oh, I dropped it in there. That's okay, I'll grab it here in just a minute. But I want to show you guys this one I just pulled out here, as you guys can see, is snapped. So we're going to need to get a new one of those for sure. There we go. Yep. And there's actually another piece of shrapnel in there. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, one of them, one or both of the collets on that one broke. Let's see if I can knock it out here really quick. So that is not good. Definitely going to be Need to be replacing those. And then I'm also going to, while I'm here, fish out that one that fell down there. You just gotta think smarter, not harder. There you go. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I thought I was rolling camera, but I guess I wasn't. Having a lot of camera issues on this part of the build series. So all I did was I threaded this screw here into this side. I believe this is the this is the intake side. Same thing. I just threaded it in, used my pair of pliers here, and pulled her on out. I'd also put the valve cover on just to kind of prevent it from anything flying anywhere. It is somewhat spring-loaded, so that can happen. So same thing on the other side. We're just going to go pull her on out. Okay, this one's being a little bit more stubborn. I threaded this little bolt here all the way in with a nut on it to start getting the pin in there to spin a little bit. Maybe if it was just jammed, but I'm going to try pulling on it here again. There we go. All right, so with this one done, I'm going to set this aside, probably put everything in some bins and stuff like that and mark it, and then I'm going to take apart the vertical head the exact same way. Sorry about that ending there, guys. I accidentally, when I pulled the second rod through, I pulled back and hit the camera dead on, and I have the camera on a charger right now, so luckily I didn't lose all of that footage, but I did lose that last little pull. It did come out, just had to push the rocker arm and get everything straight again so that it could actually make it through the hole no problem. But looks like this head here, the vertical head now is done, short of taking off the timing belt cover guard here, and then these suckers will be ready to be sent off. Alrighty, and there's our little guard. Now this is officially all prepped and ready to head out. Alright, and that's enough for that. Other one's ready. Okay, so now we're going to remove the cam belt tensioner pulleys. Tensioner and pulley. That one's off. That one's off. Okay. That leaves us now with this cylinder all good to go and ready to send out to be bored. I'm gonna get the other one here really quick. Alright, that's both of them. Okay, with everything now off and stripped down and pretty much bare bone, I am going to give these guys a quick clean before I send them off, get all of the RTB off of them really quick, so that they're not having to deal with those when I send that out. Also really quick, going to show you guys the pistons I was talking about early in the video. These are the Fast by Farachi 98mm high compression pistons. They are CNC billet. And I am really excited to get them in the engine and see how it performs closer to 1100 cc than the 1,000 that it is. But that's probably going to be it for today's video. Just wanted to quickly show you guys this stuff. In my next video, we are actually going to be getting all of the parts that I want to have powder coated and pretty much painted over here into the sandblaster. And so I'm going to be working on that, getting it so it's in tip-top shape and ready to do some more sandblasting. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, sorry for the fact that I'm missing a whole lot of footage. I really would have liked to do a very detailed technical teardown of the DS1000 engine, but unfortunately it is what it is. You guys will definitely see me splitting the cases and taking everything out, pretty much bottom end on the engine, as well as reassembling it. So that'll be there for anyone who is interested in disassembling or rebuilding this engine. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and feel free to subscribe if you want to stay updated on my weekly updates on this bike. We're moving at a pretty fast pace, so I'm again hoping to get the bike done and ready by the end of the riding season so we can actually get her on the road. If there is anything you guys would like to see done to this bike, any ideas or questions you have, especially regarding everything that was not included in this video, feel free to leave a comment or feel free to message me directly. I have an Instagram and have become a little more active on that, bringing some updates to everyone on there. So feel free to message me on there. I'll leave that in the link below. But I'll see you guys next time.